Hello and welcome to biology and back to school night. You are in Mrs. Marcone's biology class and we're going to get started. All right, so a little bit of background about myself. So I teach biology here at Oceanside High School and I also teach forensics. I've been at Oceanside High School for 2 years and I've been teaching for 3 years. My background is in environmental biology and marine science, which I studied at UC San Diego. I also got to work in scientific research for several years at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, where I got to study whale and dolphin acoustics. So I definitely have a scientific research background, but I left that field to pursue teaching because I am passionate about science communication. So I've been teaching ever since. My contact information, so this is my school phone number and extension right here. I'm doing a couple days on campus and a couple days from home, so the phone number isn't really the best way to reach me, but it's an option. The best way to reach me would be through my email, which is right here, alexa.marcone@oside.us. So biology is a really exciting course, and it's quite a bit different probably from when you took it when you were in high school, because we have new standards for the state of California for teaching science called NGSS. And the whole purpose of these standards is to get students to really think like scientists. We're getting away from having students memorize facts and rote memorization. We are teaching them how to use scientific skills and practices in order to apply them to concepts and explain them to different concepts in our class. So for this class, we start out really at the microbiology level, thinking about structure and function, growth and development, and how matter and energy flow within organisms. Units 4, 5, 6, and 7 are then going to go to more macrobiology, thinking about ecosystems and how organisms interact with each other and with their environment. So we'll be thinking about energy cycles, matter cycles, ecosystem dynamics, and social interactions and group behavior. Units 8 and 9 will go into our genetics unit, and this is usually a favorite among students. So they get to learn about their own traits, where their traits come from, dominant, recessive, how they get to pass on these traits, and how we get all this variation that we see in the world around us. Units 10 and 11 will go into a little bit more of genetics, focusing on common ancestry and diversity, and also natural selection. And then we will end the year with adaptation and biodiversity, and also thinking about human impacts on the planet. The textbook for this class is called Biozone, and The Living Earth is the particular copy that they should have. This is a workbook, so students will directly write on the pages inside of this book. They are never going to have to return this back to school. This is their book to keep forever, so they are welcome to write in it. And this book is aligned to our new NGSS standards. So when students are working in this workbook, for our virtual distance learning that we're doing right now, they're going to have to take a picture of their work and then upload that onto Google Classroom. So that is how I am asking them to turn in their assignments from this book. If your student does not have this book, then they need to go to campus and go to the AvCom room and get a copy of this book. And they can go Monday through Friday, anytime before 2:30. Okay, so for materials, for distance learning, having a device with internet access, audio, and video capabilities is required. Paper, pen, and pencils are also required. I will ask your student to handwrite their work sometimes, or their notes. And so they will need something to do to write with and write on. A calculator is also required. I mentioned to the students the first week that science involves math, and we will be doing some math in this class. So a calculator is definitely helpful to have, and a good attitude. If we are going to go back to campus and meet in person at some point, I will ask the students to keep a spiral notebook just for this class, where they will keep all of their work and notes and everything inside of this notebook. So this will be their scientific biology notebook. They will also need something to write with, and a calculator, and a good attitude. This pen right here, I highly recommend. It has 4 different colors on it, and you can click to change colors. I really like using this. I've used one of these pens since I was in high school. And science research shows that when you take your notes in different colors, you actually remember it a lot better than if you were to take them in the same color. So recommend these 2 items, not required, but do recommend these for if we meet back in person. Okay, the grade breakdown for distance learning biology is 50% of the grade is on tests and quizzes, and 50% is classwork homework. So pretty basic. The tests are open note and open book. Also, we allow 1 retake per test. So if your student does not do well the first time, they can do 1 retake to try to get a better score. In order to do the retake, they will have to prove to me that they are ready to do the retake by making sure all their assignments in Aries in the gradebook are complete and up to date. So once that is good to go, then they are allowed to do their retake. Also, for classwork and homework, I do accept late work for partial credit at any time during the semester. The grade breakdown for if we go back to campus in person is quite a bit different. So you'll notice that the assessments, our tests, are worth 90% of the student's grade. This is because our tests are structured in a way that they are really testing if the students understand the concepts or not. And so they're not going to have really any multiple choice questions. It's going to be all free response. And so their grade is very heavily weighted on how they do on these tests. Quizzes are 5% and classwork homework is 5%. So a note about the test, since it is 90% of their grade, they are still open note, and students can do as many retakes as they want. However, they will have to prove to me that they are ready to do a retake by having their missing assignments complete. And as I mentioned before, late work is accepted at any time during the semester for partial credit. This is the grading scale for this class. So everything is basically pretty normal, except right here, you'll notice for to get a D, a passing grade, we've actually lowered this number down to 55. Oops, let me go back. Usually this would be a 60%. They'd have to get a 60% to get a D and pass the class with credit. We've lowered it down because we know that our tests are very heavily weighted in this class, and this is a very challenging and rigorous course. So we've lowered this down to 55%. So as long as they get a 55, then they will get a D and they will pass the class and get credit toward graduation. And a 54.99 or lower is failing. So for this class, Aries is the main gradebook, and it will be updated weekly. So Aries is where you refer to for missing assignments and grades and all of that. Google Classroom is where we have basically everything else. So all of our notes, agendas, focus questions, which are basically our warm-up questions. All of our assignments are assigned and submitted on Google Classroom. And any supplemental materials, so articles, videos, anything like that. Also, we are using Zoom for our class sessions for biology, and this is going to be in place for the rest of September. We might be switching to Google Meets in October. I will make an announcement about that. But as of right now, we are using Zoom because Zoom has a lot of settings for security and a lot of other functions that are a lot better than Google Meet right now. So if Google Meet comes out with a good update with more functions and good security features, then we will switch. But as of right now, we are using Zoom for our class sessions. And that is it. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me. Once again, my email is right here, alexa.marcone@oside.us. Thank you and have a great rest of your night.